Hello, welcome to the Great Plains Nature Center. I'm Deb, a naturalist and educator here at the Great Plains Nature Center. Today, you've joined us for Creature Feature, and the topic is eyeshine, or emeralds of the night. We hope that you'll enjoy this presentation and also find some ways that you can participate in this great October weather. So let's get started with our program, Emeralds of the Night, or Eyes That Shine at Night. So let's think about this topic first of all, eyes that shine at night. Have you ever been out on a dark night or been traveling in a car and all of a sudden you see these bright lights that just are little tiny pinpoints though, and you think, I wonder what that is? Well, that's what we're going to be discovering today. Primarily, these bright lights that you're seeing as a reflection of light are animals that are considered to be nocturnal. So think about that just a minute. What is a nocturnal animal? I'll bet you knew by the clues or hints that I'd already been giving you. They're animals that are active at night. But why is it that they are able to see so well at nighttime? This next video presentation should help to explain some of that for you, and then we're going to spend some additional time talking about each of the concepts that are presented during the video. So here we go.
To human eyes, the world at night is a formless canvas of gray. Many nocturnal animals, on the other hand, experience a rich and varied world, bursting with details, shapes, and colors. What is it then that separates moths from men? Moths and many other nocturnal animals see at night because their eyes are adapted to compensate for the lack of light. All eyes, whether nocturnal or not, depend on photoreceptors in the retina to detect light particles known as photons. Photoreceptors then report information about these photons to other cells in the retina and brain. The brain sifts through that information and uses it to build up an image of the environment the eye perceives. The brighter the light is, the more photons hit the eye. On a sunny day, upwards of 100 million times more photons are available to the eye than on a cloudy, moonless night. Photons aren't just less numerous in darkness, but they also hit the eye in a less reliable way. This means the information that photoreceptors collect will vary over time, as will the quality of the image. In darkness, trying to detect the sparse scattering of randomly arriving photons is too difficult for the eyes of most daytime animals. But for night creatures, it's just a matter of adaptation. One of these adaptations is size. Take the tarsier, whose eyeballs are each as big as its brain, giving it the biggest eyes compared to head size of all mammals. If humans had the same brain-to-eye ratio, our eyes would be the size of grapefruits. The tarsier's enlarged orbs haven't evolved to make it cuter, however, but to gather as much light as possible. Bigger eyes can have larger openings, called pupils, and larger lenses, allowing for more light to be focused on the receptors. While tarsiers scan the nocturnal scene with their enormous peepers, cats use gleaming eyes to do the same. Cats' eyes get their shine from a structure called the Tapetum lucidum that sits behind the photoreceptors. This structure is made from layers of mirror-like cells containing crystals that send incoming light bouncing back towards the photoreceptors and out of the eye. This results in an eerie glow, and it also gives the photoreceptors a second chance to detect photons. In fact, this system has inspired the artificial cat's eyes we use on our roads. Toads, on the other hand, have adapted to take it slow. They can form an image even when just a single photon hits each photoreceptor per second. They accomplish this with photoreceptors that are more than 25 times slower than human ones. This means toads can collect photons for up to 4 seconds, allowing them to gather many more than our eyes do at each visual time interval. The downside is that this causes toads to react very slowly, because they're only receiving an updated image every 4 seconds. Fortunately, they're accustomed to targeting sluggish prey. Meanwhile, the night is also buzzing with insects, such as hawk moths. which can see their favorite flowers in color, even on a starlit night. They achieve this by a surprising move, getting rid of details in their visual perception. Information from neighboring photoreceptors is grouped in their brains, so the photon catch of each group is higher compared to individual receptors. However, grouping photoreceptors loses details in the image, as fine details require a fine grid of photoreceptors, each detecting photons from one small point in space. The trick is to balance the need for photons with the loss of detail to still find their flowers. Whether eyes are slow, enormous, shiny, or coarse, it's the combination of these biological adaptations that gives nocturnal animals their unique visual powers. Imagine what it might be like to witness through their eyes the world that wakes up when the sun goes down. To human eyes. To human eyes.
So we've seen a lot of great information in that video, but I'd like to spend a little bit more time with some of the information that helps us to understand eyeshine just a little bit better. Here you see pictured the eye, similar to the one you saw in the video, and we see kind of what looks like a nocturnal animal's eye on the left, or the mouse, my left, on the picture. And then in the middle, a dog's eye, which they also appear to have eyeshine, and then a person's eye. And you'll notice how big the actual lens is in each eye. The mouse's is much larger to allow more light to come in. The dog's, while it is smaller, it still allows light to come in at nighttime. And then we have a person or a man's lens that is much smaller, that does not allow quite as much light to come in at the nighttime. So those bigger eyes are one adaptation that does help an animal, a nocturnal animal in particular, to see better at nighttime. The next one that they talked about in the video, but did not go into quite as much detail, is that a nocturnal eye also has more receptors of one kind or the other in a layer at the back of the eye. The tapetum, or the tapetum lucidum, I've also heard it pronounced tapetum lucidum. I kind of like that pronunciation because it is rhyming. But the active animal in the daytime, if you'll look at the picture on the right-hand side, you see little shapes that are called cones, and then some shapes that are darker blue that are called rods. And if you think cones, color, cones are the receptors that allow us to see color. And rods are the receptors that help to bring in more light from the outside. So it's a good thing we have cones because we get to see all the fabulous colors of our world. But a nocturnal animal, as you'll notice in the next picture on the right, has more rods than they have cones. That allows them to pick up more light coming in at nighttime so that they can see to find their prey or just to get around in general. Now, we also mentioned a couple of times already that the size of an eye socket will make a difference. And a little bit later, I'll show you an actual skull of an owl, but you can see a little bit difference in the size or how much of the skull the eye socket takes up. In the picture on the left, or of the picture of the raptor or bird of prey, you can see that the eye socket is like 2/3 or maybe even a little bit more of that bird's actual skull. Whereas in a human, we have much less space devoted to that. And again, that larger eye socket or space for the eye allows them to, nocturnal animals to see better at nighttime. Another difference that you might find is the shape of the pupil. Not all nocturnal animals, but several of them have more of a slit in their eye. Cats are more known for this one than perhaps the diurnal or daytime eye that you see there on the right is circular. But still, there are some nighttime animals or nocturnal animals that will have the circular eye. But probably the benefit of the nocturnal eye being a slit is that it can kind of open and close like the blinds that you might have hanging in your house over a window. They can let in more light or let less light in by pulling closed and open, rather than the circle of the pupil expanding or contracting. So those are some differences that help night animals to see a little bit better. Here's some examples of pupil size. You might look at the owl's pupil there on the left-hand picture and then how large it can get. And then we have the person's pupil or the individual's pupil as maybe during daytime, and then what it would look like if there's low light situations. The pupil tries to enlarge to allow more light in. Actually, though, I don't think I've ever seen a person's eyeball or pupil, excuse me, that enlarged, except when I get done at the optometrist and he has enlarged my pupil artificially with some drops. And the purpose of that is to be able to look at the back of my eye and see that my retina and the optic nerve and everything in my eye is healthy. And it allows them to do that when they are able to shine more light back into the back part of my eye. So now we're going to try an experiment. Hopefully you have someone who is watching with you at home, and you'll need two people for this. Maybe it could be an adult, or maybe it could be a sibling or somebody who's there with you that can try this experiment. One of you is going to be the watcher, and one is going to be an eyeball, and we're going to look at directions first before we try the experiment. So here we go. Hang on just a minute. We need to get back to step one.
Eyeball, open your eyes wide. Watcher, look in your partner's eyes and find the white, the pupil, and the iris.
So go ahead and do that. Remember, one of you is going to be watcher and one's going to be the eyeball, and you're trying to identify the three major parts of the eye: the white, the iris, and the pupil. Okay, here is step two.
Eyeball, open your eyes wide. Watcher, look in your partner's eyes and find the white, the pupil, and the iris.
Oh, hey, we already did that. Let's see if I can get you to the right step.
Each person has a different job in this experiment. Listen carefully so you'll know what your job will be, but don't do anything yet. Teacher, you're going to count down from 20, and then you'll say open. Eyeball, you're going to close your eyes until you hear open. Watcher, you're going to watch for a change in eyeball's eye when they open them. The change will happen really fast, so you'll have to watch carefully. Okay, now that everyone knows their jobs, go to the next step.
So here's the next step. Remember that the eyeball is going to close their eyes. The watcher is going to get ready to watch. And in this scenario, they used a teacher, but if you have another person in the room, or maybe one of you can decide to be the counter, you're going to start counting down from 20, 19, 18, and so on. Then when you get to 0, you're going to say open. The eyeball is going to open their eyes, and the watcher is going to carefully watch the eyes to see if there might be any changes going on. Hey, I hope I've allowed you enough time to try that little experiment, and now maybe you can switch roles and try it again.
Switch roles and try it again. Eyeball, close your eyes. Watcher, get ready to watch. Teacher, start counting down from 20.
Okay, the last thing that I would like to, well, first of all, think about the results of your experiment. Did you notice any changes, or in particular the pupil, or the way that the size or the shape of the pupil? You might discuss that with whoever else is with you watching the program. The last thing that I wanted to share in particular with you about how nocturnal eyes see so well is this notion of the tapetum lucidum, or I've heard tapetum lucidum, but either way is correct. It really means shining layer or bright carpet, kind of like the carpet that you would see in a movie or something of that nature. But again, it is a shining layer that is found at the back of animals that have nocturnal eyes. So what it really is a layer that's reflective, like a mirror. Remember, we talked about some animals earlier in the video that might have this particular reflective layer in their eye. A deer might be one of those. And I have several examples of others, but I'm going to show you those in just a minute. For right now, I'd like to show you an actual tapetum lucidum and an animal. This one comes from a cow's eyeball. Hang on just a second. I want to get to my microscope. There we go. Oh, I'm not in the right place yet. I may have to ask my technology wizard to help me get back to the right place for my, there we go, microscope view. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so what we're looking at is the eyeball of a cow. Sounds kind of gross, doesn't it? Let's see if I can get the microscope focused. On the right area. Ooh, do you see that pretty kind of bluish green part? That's the tapetum lucidum, or that reflective layer that reflects light off at nighttime so that the animal is able to see better at nighttime. It's kind of like reflecting light off of a mirror. I don't know if that'll work that way, or maybe I need to do it with the actual camera. Hang on just a second. Let me go back to speaker view. There we go. So here is light reflecting off of a mirrored surface, and what you're actually seeing is the seats and things that are out in front of me, where you normally would see what's behind me, the Great Plains nature symbol behind me, as well as the curtains. But what's happening is the light is reflecting off of this mirrored surface and actually making it easier for you to see things that are out there in front of me. That is, I'm actually in a very dark auditorium right now, and without that reflection of light, it's hazier or darker out there and I cannot see as well. And I'm even noticing that when I get this reflected light out there, I can see Alan, who's helping with the presentation today, better. I can see his turquoise shirt a little bit better. When I put this down, I can hardly see that he's there at all. And that's exactly what happens for nocturnal animals. When they are able to reflect light off of that tapetum lucidum, then they are able to see better at night. Let's give you another look at that neat layer of the cow's eye with the microscope. And I do want to thank my friends at Richard's Cold Storage in Valley Center for saving these cows' eyes for me as they were processing cattle this last week. But isn't that beautiful? And to think it's all because of that reflective layer that nocturnal animals are able to see a little bit better at nighttime. So let's get back to our PowerPoint. And I think I advanced myself a little further than I wanted to, so I'm going to back up a few slides too. Oh, and I chose the wrong thing again. Don't you love technology? There we go. All right, so I'm going to back up a few slides and talk a little bit more about reflective surfaces in the mirrors with a light box. This is one of my absolute favorite things to do. I have a mirrored box. The mirrors have been turned inside out, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Inside it, I am going to light a candle and then give you a look with the webcam. So give me just a minute. While I get this set up for you. So here's what we're going to be taking a look at is the light box. And I need to get back to my other view. That's not the right one. Oh, there we go. I got it. All right. So here is the light box, and if I pull the lid down so that all of the reflective surfaces are in play, how many candles do you see? Isn't that exciting? It's infinite, isn't it? It's one of the neatest things about the light box. If you'd like to make one of your own light boxes at home, just for fun, what I did was that I purchased mirrored tiles at, I believe it was Home Depot, but you can probably find them at other hardware stores. And then I put the mirrored surface towards the inside of the box and then used duct tape or a sticky tape of some kind to actually make the 6-sided box, right? And then added the lid as well, but you want to make sure that you don't tape the lid shut. You need that to be able to open and shut to allow you to put the candle inside and then light it. You could probably do the same thing with a flashlight if you're a younger person and your parents don't want you to be using matches or candles. I think a flashlight would work just as well, but I think the candle makes it kind of impressive. So that's a light box, and again what we're looking at is how light can reflect off of different surfaces. So here we are back again, and let's give you some examples of some eyeshine or nocturnal animals that have eyeshine. So first of all, here's a listing of some different animals and what color of eyeshine they have. They don't all have the same color, and it depends on kind of the chemical composition of the tapetum lucidum at the back of the eye. If it has more of one chemical compound than another, that will determine the color of eyeshine that an animal might have. So if it's a screech owl, then their iris color is generally yellow, but their eyeshine color will come out red. And as far as strength, your ability to see it at nighttime is going to be a little more difficult because it's a weak strength. So you're not going to easily see that bright reddish color of the screech owl. And as you can see on this list, we have a variety of different animals that have different eyeshine. Here are some pictures that I have been shared with me by our former director, Bob Gress, and I kind of tried to match the font of the picture to the color of the eyeshine. So this is a beautiful one of a badger. The next one you see is a wolf spider, kind of more of a whitish color there in this picture. The black-footed ferret has kind of a greenish color. A black-tailed jackrabbit. Here's a bullfrog. Isn't that one beautiful? It kind of looks like, a pearl, like the inside of an oyster coloring. The great horned owl. The raccoon, those little beady white eyes. The Virginia opossum, which is very similar, kind of the whitish color. And here's another really beautiful one, a walleye, a kind of fish. So again, thank you to Bob Gress, a former Great Plains Nature Center director, for the use of the photos for this presentation. And here are some additional groups of animals that have eyeshine. Mollusks, dogs, kit fox, cats, coyotes, cattle, antelope, fox, owls, rabbits, deer, skunks, and opossums, and many fish. But you know what? The absolute most exciting thing to do, I think, is to try to go out on a fall evening, like I went out last night, to make a collection of a spider so that I could show you how to do something called spider sniffing. Spider sniffing uses some general tools, and I'll get to that back to where you can see me so I can show you the tools that we're using. There we go, you've got me again. So when you go spider sniffing, it needs to be pretty dark. I'm fortunate that I live out in the country, but if you live in town, it'll still work. As long as you don't have a lot of bright lights around your house, maybe your backyard would be a good place to go, or if you have a neighborhood park that you can take an adult with you to go and try spider sniffing, that would be a good place to go too. But you will need a flashlight. And I know some of you will be tempted to talk your parents into using the flashlight on their cell phone, but actually that's not a very good flashlight to use. What you need is kind of a small pin light, similar to this one that I'm holding in my hand, or I have another one that looks about this size. But the most important thing to remember when you're spider sniffing is not to get real close to your prey or what you're looking for. You're going to hold the flashlight right up here next to your temple or next to your eye. That makes it the easiest for you to pick up that reflection of light off the tapetum lucidum of the spider so that you can easily find them in the dark. So last night, I went out about 8 o'clock and I was walking along a row of trees behind my house. It's best where there's kind of mown grass and then you have taller maybe grasses or trees. That's where you can easily find spiders and locate them by their eyeshine. And then you're going to walk really slowly, and hopefully what you will see are little glitters of green light. And I'm going to attempt to show you that here in the darkened auditorium today, because the spider that I found is absolutely wonderful. It actually has its babies with it too. And sometimes when you're looking for eyeshine, you can even see the glow of the little tiny lights of the babies riding along on the mom's back too. So first of all, I did want to show you the animal that I collected last night. And yes, I am going to let it go when we're done with this presentation. So I'm going to put this back on microscope view. get it so that I'm focused and get it in the right place. That's always the big thing, is finding the animal. There it is. And do you see all those kind of little brown things on the back of that mom? Those are her babies. And there's even 1 or 2 babies that have decided to make it out on their own. Let's see if I can find them in here for you, in the dish. So I am definitely going to let Mom go outside, not in a building when I'm done, since she has so many babies. Let me get back to focused on her and hold still for just a minute so you can see the babies. So when I went spider sniffing last night, I took my flashlight out, went to the hedgerow. Boy, I'm having a hard time getting focused on you. Oh, there we go. There she is. It's hard to know which way to move the camera. Up, down, backwards, forwards. And I'm still not getting it right. Okay, now she's focused. Let's see if I can get her moved. There she is. Get her in the frame. Oh, I had her really well the last time. Let's turn it, see if I turn it around and get it tried that way. Okay, hold still. I was probably making you guys really dizzy. So you can see all of her little babies on her back. So let's see if we can try eyeshine now. I'm going to go back to presenter view, or speaker view, excuse me. And I'm going to put the container out a little ways. Turn off my other light in here. Ooh, it's getting darker. Hope she doesn't crawl out while I'm looking for my flashlight. Yep, here's one. I'm going to stand back about, 5 to 6. Oh, I can see it already. I don't know if Alan will be able to see what I'm seeing. I can see a glow of a little bit of green light. Oh, I think that's going to put too much light on it, Alan. What? Oh, we've got this causing problems. Let me get that covered up. Okay, now I can see the glimmer of the light of the eye from where I'm standing. Oh, I think we got it. Did she move? Nope, I still got her. Oh, but the plastic container is kind of in the way for you. Oh, I just want you to be able to see this so badly because it's so exciting. Yeah, because I can easily see the reflection of the eye. Can you see it, Alan?
Not from this angle, but
yeah.
I mean, it's the perfect time of year to go out and do this.
Yes, it
There's
is.
spiders everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And that she had so many babies is just fascinating. Yeah. So I'm sorry that didn't work very well. I was hoping it would for you because it's really neat when you go out at nighttime and go spider sniffing. So if you have any questions, because we weren't able to stream this live on Facebook, you're welcome to submit those questions to our Facebook page, and either Alan will let me know that you had some questions about the program today, or he will answer the questions that you might have about eyeshine and spiders. So let me think. Did I explain what you're going to do? Remember, you're going to go out probably 8 o'clock would be late enough. It was pretty dark last night at 8 o'clock. Then you're going to take a small flashlight, not a cell phone flashlight, put it right up here by your eyes, and then you're going to go walking slowly along in your backyard or maybe in a park where there's shorter grass, and then taller grass is probably the best place to find spiders this time of year. But it's a pretty exciting thing to do. So I hope you've enjoyed our program about spider eyeshine, or in this case, just nocturnal animals and eyeshine. And will join us for our next creature feature, which will be coming up the first Monday in November. Thank you so much.